Hello, and welcome to Thrash Life, the show where we talk to musicians about the intersection of life and music. On today's episode, we'll be talking to Mike Walls. He's been a musician around Baltimore for quite some time at bands like Queen Wolf and Infinite Pizza, as well as recording under Audio Esoteric Studios. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. I'm really excited to get into that, but before we do that, let's talk about a couple topics that have come up in the news recently. First one being a little band called Brass Against. This one comes from the website Lambgoat. Says Brass Against lead singer urinates on fan during concert. Eurista, I guess, is the lead singer, reportedly complained about having to pee several times during the band's set before securing a volunteer from the crowd to serve as her toilet while she and her bandmates covered Raise Against the Machine's Wake Up. And there's a video of this that somebody shot during the concert.
It's a lot of pee.
It's surprising how disgusting it is. Pornographic, quite honestly. I think it's acceptable to probably pause and run off stage real quick and pee off stage.
Yeah, but I think probably for that guy that volunteered, it was a good time. So
He looked like he was having way too much fun. And that's part of why the rest of the audience probably shouldn't be in it.
he was practically waterboarded, man. I thought he was going to suffocate.
And then they kick right back in. They're kind of like softly playing the Rage song as she's peeing,
she's
but then
like doing vocals while she pees on him.
and then as she finishes up, like she starts going wild, pulls up her pants, and then he starts going wild on the ground. I don't know, really
So
weird.
Go to Lambgoat and see the video for yourself.
Yeah. What about Astroworld? You hear about this this thing called Astroworld that happened recently?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it. I mainly just how it's got us rethinking how crowd control works because of how utterly stupid it actually operates currently.
Yes. So over a weekend or two ago, Travis Scott as well as Drake played a giant show in Texas called Astroworld. I believe it's his show. He organizes it, or just to some degree.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened was that they underpaid and disrespected security to the extent that they didn't have enough, and a bunch of people got trampled.
Yeah. Also, along with that, some stuff I'd listened to about it is that essentially the way that crowd control works right now is they think of it like by the laws of physics, as if it's like sand in an hourglass, and that's how people are going to react when they corral them into small areas to control them. And there's no gravity that it's like pulling people, like people don't react at like grains of sand. And so it's been messed up for a long time. And now I guess people are finally rethinking that tactic.
Yeah, there's a lot of tragic stories about people asking for help, and Travis Scott acknowledging that shit was going on and just fucking ignoring it and just going.
That's been his thing to try and cultivate chaos.
Yeah, it turns out I think he's been charged a couple times for inciting a riot because he just wants it to be fucked up. But a headline. The internet thinks Travis Scott and Live Nation sacrificed Astroworld attendees to Satan. And this is a popular TikTok trend, I guess, in which people are saying that the whole concert itself was a satanic harvesting ritual that hypnotized the people in the audience. And as a result, they wound up being sacrificed to Satan.
Yeah, 8 people sacrificed straight to Satan.
I mean, I think if you were actually trying to sacrifice people to Satan, you could.
I think the ritual would be a little more involved than just crushing an arbitrary 8 people. It's not even like there was any specific type of sacrifice they were looking for. They're just like, we'll just sacrifice as many people as we can kill, I guess.
Yeah, randoms too. Not like not with any specific goal in mind or anything. But this seems a little ridiculous to me. This theory. But if it is true, black metal bands, you got to step your game up. What are you doing?
Yeah, seriously.
Speaking of extreme metal, did you ever listen to In Flames back in the day?
Yeah.
Like there was like a point in time when In Flames was like pretty cool in the early 2000s with this album called Clayman,
Yeah.
and they quickly 180'd into a completely different band. If you listen to In Flames now, they're not the same. But I guess the original members got back together and released a single under the group name The Halo Effect.
Ooh, I don't like that name.
I don't like the name. The song sounds like original In Flames, so if you're into original In Flames, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Until they chop down some members again and become a different band. But if you want that original In Flames, I just thought it was cool. I thought it was deserving of a mention.
Yeah. Well, before we get into our last story, I got a couple quick hits that I've come across recently. Rest in peace to Malcolm Dome, the guy he's a journalist who coined the phrase thrash metal.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Yeah. And then next up, we got Kerry King has released a statement that his next band will be fucking good.
All right, to be seen, but okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if you heard about this one, but Suicidal Tendencies had their Instagram shut down because their name goes against the terms of service.
I did hear about this. This is probably going to be like an ongoing struggle that we're going to have to fight with over the next over the next decade, probably, where we talk about judging a book by its cover and things like that. Because obviously, the Suicidal Tendencies,
tongue-in-cheek sort of.
It's not about being suicidal at all.
Yeah.
If anything, it's about being anti-suicidal.
Yeah. And Anthrax has decided to release a whiskey for, I believe, their 40th anniversary.
Okay.
Which is pretty crazy. 40 fucking years.
Maybe we can get a handle on that and
try it out. Try it out and let you know how it is.
That sounds pretty good, actually. Maybe they aged it for 40 years? Who knows?
Like they knew that they were going to make it 40 years.
So last thing today, I just want to bring up a story that came up in the New Yorker called How Britney Spears Got Free and What Comes Next. Now, Britney Spears being a big figure the past 20 years, famously had the reins on her life taken from her, and she's pretty much placed in the custody of her father, who was, I guess, allegedly stealing all of her money the entire time. And
along with a guy, ironically named Andrew Wallet, that was put in charge of her money.
Sounds completely legit. Mr. Wallet. Yeah. Yes. Take my money, Mr. Wallet. But the article is pretty interesting. It goes in to say how, Britney got free, but now it's going to be a big struggle for her to go back through those over 10 years and figure out what they were doing with all of her money while she was essentially locked up.
Yeah.
And
these kind of conservatorships, it's actually not very new either. They've harmed a lot of people in the past. Like Brian Wilson was his conservatorship actually probably saved him a little bit because his cousin got conservatorship over him after his doctor also became his business partner and was just giving him drugs so he could control him and take all of his money.
Well, in this case, she's got a pretty long road ahead of her. And the article goes on to state it's also going to be pretty hard because immediately, I mean, as was the case before she was placed into conservatorship, everybody is already taking pictures of her every waking moment of every day, and they're waiting for her to slip up again. So anything, if she flips out on paparazzi, it's just going to be bad news for her again, which is unfortunate, but it goes to show how difficult it is to get out of these situations when the system decides you are not fit for yourself.
Yeah. And she shaved her head.
Yeah,
That's it.
she was actually trying to record an album without her dad's knowing
Yeah.
at one point. And I mean, I don't expect her
I
to put out
believe
an album,
she's
but
released 4 albums under the conservatorship. So
it's quite
that
possible.
sounds pretty competent to me.
They have to get that money.
Yeah.
So, we'll be checking in with Britney.
Yeah.
Very excited to see Britney free. I hope she does well. All the best from Thrash Life Podcast.
Absolutely.
And now let's go ahead and talk with our special guest, Mike Walls. So let's start off. Can you introduce yourself and tell me your pronouns?
My name is Mike Walls. I'm a he, him, they, them. It's fine. I'm not too worried about it. Use whatever you want to.
Right on. How would you describe the music that you play?
Loud guitar music is generally what I say because it's accurate. I realize it doesn't help, but also trying to describe most of it accurately doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Distortion?
Yeah, lots of it.
Lots of it.
Ideally.
What kind of places do you usually play?
Illegal, if possible. Like given our druthers, you know, some very dodgy, shady place where you're not supposed to be doing it. That's ideal. Second to that, punk rock dive bars. Second place is shared by punk rock dive bar and legitimately decent punk rock venue like an auto bar, but also like a terrible place is good too. And then after that, like nice clubs. They're less fun.
Nice club last. You don't like the green room?
I don't even know what is that a place? Or are you talking about the movie?
No, I mean like some clubs actually have a green room.
Oh, a green room. See, see what I mean? That's what fucking scumbags we are. Like, I didn't even. No, I don't actually. That's not a thing that I would. I'm not going to hang out backstage.
Fair enough. So, what bands are you active in right now?
I sing and play guitar in Queen Wolf. And I play guitar in Infinite Pizza.
Right on. And you do some recording stuff too, right?
I do.
That's under Audio Esoterica.
That is the the fake name for the studio that is really our practice space and also my space in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The email address that I made thinking I was one day going to start a business.
Hey, we got the same thing going on. This is Medusa Head Media now.
That's pretty good. That's a good one.
So let's take it to the very beginning, right? So what was the first musical influence you had? Like before you even started playing music, when you first became like conscious that music was a thing, what was like the first music that like stood out to you?
So there are two concurrent things, right? That I remember it being a moment where I was like, oh, like music is a thing, not like it exists like wallpaper exists.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, also there is oatmeal. Like music is music, right?
Yeah.
Two things kind of happened at the same time around the age where that became conscious. Number one, I got real into my dad's 45 of Pinball Wizard by The Who.
Oh.
Which is a band I do not like now. Like I don't like The Who.
Okay.
But yo, that in the intro.
Yeah.
Sick. So like I was really into that. And my parents are very Southern Baptist. To the point that we would go see like Southern Baptist music live, like quartet singers, like family band groups and shit.
Oh wow.
And those people would all tour with like Nashville session musicians behind them. So it'd be like we go to these week-long festivals out in the fucking boonies, literally in Boone, North Carolina, in the fucking boonies, all right, for a week, and it's just all day is these Southern gospel music bands, and they all have the same backup musicians because they're all hot shit Nashville guys reading off of charts.
Ah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we went to a lot of that, and at some point I realized it was the same band. And hey, you guys can't like, what do you all live together? How does this work? And like you're there for a week, so I would just go find the bass player and be like, hey man, so like what is the deal? So as a very small child, I convinced these Nashville session musician guys to explain, like, oh yes, this is my PV bass amp I like, this is my Fender P bass. We all read off of these charts. We live in Nashville, but we just learn the songs of tour. A lot of them are the same, you know, the chord changes are this and that. So like, at the same time, It was, oh, "Ba-now" is awesome. And also, there are people who make it go and they use stuff to do it. And it's not just like music doesn't just happen, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, a lot of people do move to Nashville for that, gig
Yeah.
gig work. That's like not I can't say that I really see it being like a big thing around here where musicians are like gigging like that or in like very many bands, but like
Yeah.
there are a very few amount of cities in America that those kinds of bands exist in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of it, or at least there's some of it around here. But you're right that there are only a couple of spots where like that can be what you do. Like there's
Yeah.
enough of that work that you can like. A lot of people are making a living just doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to do that. 'Cause there certainly there have been times in life where I've tried to
Mhm.
do the professional recording engineer thing, and I don't actually think I want to do it because then I gotta record stuff all the time. Like I have bills I gotta pay. I gotta fill that calendar,
Yeah.
and like, man, I sure am a picky, shitty, little opinionated man in terms of my taste, right? So God forbid I would have to try to, I would inflict my taste on like a country record.
Well, would that really be a bad thing though?
Probably for them it might
Oh,
be.
for them
And also,
maybe.
I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't enjoy it necessarily. I wouldn't love it.
Hmm.
Then it becomes just my job, and I don't know that I would love it the same.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll just have a dumb square job, and then still be able to record, angry hardcore bands.
Right on. So what was it like? I guess like seeing all these people. What was it like for you the first time you got to jam with other musicians?
Intimidating. So I got a bass. I gotta do the math. Because I skipped second grade, so I can never remember how old I was in any given grade, right? So for my 14th birthday, I got a bass because I knew two dudes. We were going to start a band. They were like, I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to play drums. Oh, man, I want to play drums. No, you're going to play bass. Fuck, fine. I'll ask for a bass. And then, of course, as musicians do, they just fucked directly off. That never happened. But I got the bass, and there was a kid in my art class freshman year at school who played guitar. He was like, oh, I have a band. We need a bass player. It's like, oh, I play bass. Didn't have the bass yet. Was 3 weeks away from getting the bass. Oh, I have a bass. I play bass. Like, oh, you want to jam? It's like, oh, well, wait, no, not 3 weeks. Sorry, it was a week away from getting the bass. It was like, oh, I can't till like whatever 3 weeks away. And I was like, yeah, I play bass. Didn't have the bass yet. I play bass. I'll jam. So I got the bass. I learned. Oh, fuck. Which Green Day song is that? How am I not remembering? It's the song about jerking off.
Yeah.
Why can I not remember the name of the Green Day? That's awful. I'm so old.
Yeah, it's escaped me.
Longview. Christ almighty, it's Longview. So I learned Longview.
Okay.
I learned Tomorrow by Silverchair. And I learned Lithium.
Okay.
And I conned them into thinking I knew how to play bass by learning those 3 songs.
That seems to be the way.
So it was intimidating the first time because like the guitar player of that band was like a dude who took lessons and like knew scales. Like he could play guitar.
Oh.
Dream Theater was his favorite band.
Was he composing yet?
No.
Oh.
Never did write any goddamn songs. He's one of those motherfuckers. Where, like one of those dudes in like school band who can play Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Almost as good, like from the sheet music. But if you're like, no, we're gonna do a ska thing, just like riff some. He's like, but what do I would like it's a mechanical skill, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
So he had a lot of that. He wrote 2 songs in the like 10 years we were in a band together, something like that, and both of them were like 4-chord wonder. It's weird.
So a lot of tension building up to this, being like, oh no, like I have to get into this. We're gonna be in a band, and you get into a band, you just realize it's just a bunch of kids just trying to figure shit out.
True, but the thing is, by the time I got the bass and figured out those 3 songs, it was often then it was like, great, well then I can just write them too, right? It's not that hard. Let's just write some fucking songs. Let's go. So it was fine because he was not inclined to write shit, but he could play whatever I needed him to.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it was like, wait, it would be like a how do you do? Show me. Great, let's do it. So it worked out great for a bunch of years.
Nice.
In that respect.
So how is it? How was the experience playing with other musicians changed since then? How like?
I am marginally slightly better. so I can be like, it goes like this, but like play it good, unlike what I did, you know.
Right.
Has it changed? I'm certainly a better collaborator in terms of writing songs. I definitely, for a lot of years, was like the James Hetfield school, right? Like I wrote the song and you play the parts I wrote you, and it goes like this. But now I'm a lot better at allowing more space in the like I've got an idea of what it could do and what I would like to do, but also know that there are inflection points where it could go another way, so I'm not going to hammer it too hard before I bring it to people.
Okay, so you were like a principal composer initially, or like the one who stepped up to the plate to
Yeah.
compose, and now it's become more of a collaborative process for you.
Yeah, I mean, and which is certainly because I write slow. I'm a slow writer, so
Okay.
I for sure want to have other people chip in stuff in. Because if we got to rely on me, it's going to take forever to finish a full length. Like,
Right.
Not only am I nitpicky about it, right? Like I'm only going to bring you the stuff that I'm like, no, this actually would be a good song. Like there are plenty of ones where I'm like, that's no one needs to. I'm not even interested in that song. Like, is it a song? Sure, I don't
Right.
care about it. Get rid of it. It's not that good.
Okay.
But even the ones that are any good, it takes forever. So like I don't want to be solely responsible. I don't need to put out a record like once every 10 years or some shit.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is quite a slow pace.
Yeah, it sucks. Like there I think I have probably that I like finished like 2 songs this year. It's been a super slow year.
It's
like,
mostly
slower than normal,
like
obviously.
decision paralysis when it comes to this. Like you're like nitpicking it and being like,
It's-
this could be better.
I tell you, it's part that, but it's also like nothing's going on. Like, what am I going to be inspired by? Like, nothing's churning ideas. So it's not even like I've got 5 ideas and I hate them all. It's just I got no fucking ideas. Nothing's
no fire under your ass to like actually get it out.
and like I'm you know, it's I show up to work, so to speak, and try to write some stuff and play some guitar or whatever. But like nothing grabs me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Stuff shows up, but like nothing's awesome. And I've done it enough times at this point in life that I feel like I know the mouth feel of a live one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like there's just fewer of them.
Yeah.
Happens. Sometimes you hit a dry spell.
I mean, this has been a trying time recently, so a lot of room to reevaluate or just shift gears for the past couple of years and maybe not focus completely on putting out the bangers. You know, it's just not a whole lot of how to say like
Less stuff has happened to bang about.
yeah
Because I'm stuck inside.
yeah
Um,
definitely
And my friend Lauren Anderson, who's a therapist and also in the band Cowabunga Pizza Time, she posted a thing on one of those social medias about how like some people are creative in the moment, right, reactive to the thing, and some people are creative afterwards after it's been kind of processed. And I realized I am one of those, and I'm slow about it. So I'm trying to be nice to myself about not having anything to say in the heat of nothing happening.
yeah that's fair that's
you
fair
know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's go back to your childhood days, as it were,
Okay.
the beginning of music, and even now. Like you've done a lot of stuff over the period of time since you started playing music with other people until now. Has there ever been like a extremely extravagant, maybe unrealistic musical goal that you have, or maybe still have, that's like, I'd really love to play Madison Square Garden, or like people have these like dreams, these rock star dreams when they first get into playing music, or maybe still have them?
No.
Have you done everything that you?
No, I don't have any rock star dreams.
Okay.
So so up until probably the 8th grade, I thought that rock and roll was fucking over. Right? Like the 50s and 60s and 70s had happened, and then we hit the 80s, and now everywhere, because I'm 40 somehow, right? So by the age where I'm noticing all this shit, it's like the late 80s, early 90s, right? So like 1990, 1991 even, it's still like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. Like
Right.
videos are on like
Yeah.
dudes with big dumb hair, and it's very weird and like sexist, and there's cars everywhere, and I'm just not that kind of boy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not. So like I figured rock and roll was done. Like that's what they're doing, and it fucking sucks. Next, I'm only listening to gangster rap. So I was solely into like all I listened to was like super aggressive hip hop and like some house music because that was on 92Q like at midnight, like late
Nice,
at night.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm listening to like West Coast hip hop and house music, and then also my parents' Christian music. Up until I found out about punk rock in the 8th grade.
Ah.
Right, so and I went directly into basement shows with kids, like drinking vodka and ripping up American flags and yelling about burning down the system. Right, so I never had any, I'm going to play a stadium and be a millionaire. I thought those people were complete assholes and must be destroyed, because that was the attitude then, right?
Yeah.
So I literally have never had any of those. My big rock star dream, my unattainable rock star dream would be man, what if we could go on tour for 3 months and didn't lose any money? That's wild! It'll never happen, but wouldn't it be cool? That's as extravagant as it gets. All of my fantasies are what if I bought 12 microphones so we could record all the drums? And then I do it. It's not, maybe that's a lack of imagination. I don't know. But I'm very much a practical person in that way. So if I'm going to spend the energy dreaming about some shit, it better be some shit I can do and get done. Otherwise, fuck are we doing?
Hey, a 3-week tour is pretty lofty these days.
I'm saying, now, that's a big...
that's a huge commitment, yeah. What about short-term or immediate music goals?
Finish a fucking song.
Just one?
At this point, you have one. Just let me finish. Put one song in front of the other here. We got 4 songs for a Queen Wolf record. We want at least 8. So we got to write 4 more.
All right.
So write 4 more of those. Infinite Pizza's working on a bunch of songs, but that's the Queen Wolf is much slower, because I feel like Annie is the same way as I am, where she's got to marinate on the riff and be no, I like this one. This is the good one. Christy and Chuck are very reactive, and you got an idea, bounce it off me. Here's something. I got something for you. So that process takes longer. Infinite Pizza will write a minute-long song every practice. They're all dumb hardcore songs, intentionally stupid. So as soon as we get a line, a lyric that is funny, as soon as one of us makes the other one laugh, it's off and running, and we can get that song going. That'll happen.
Well,
so
that seems to be a good formula.
That's going quicker.
There's some stuff like Trumpelstiltskin, for instance. I loved.
Thank you. I'm a fan of that one. Yeah, and that's the same deal. Well, that was a 1 day at practice. Every Infinite Pizza song is that. Some of the lyrics, we have a Google Doc.
Okay.
And anytime someone gets a stupid idea, put it in the doc. And then at practice, you will just scroll through the Google Doc and see what tickles everybody.
That's a great tool if anybody is out there and thinks that they want to write music in this vein.
It's a really good organizational principle for a collaborative process like ours, where the songs are short and intentionally kind of goofy. You know what I mean? Nikki will show up with a whole set of lyrics and a song sometimes. Becky will show up with a whole set of lyrics sometimes, but I feel like 85% of it is what did you say? Oh, that's a song. All right, let's do that. Come on.
Nice. Okay. What about personal milestones? Have you ever reached one that you feel like, something really stood out to you as a moment in time where you're I really did it. This was the year, we finally did this thing that I always wanted to do. Maybe with your instrument or anything like that.
Shit, I'm surprised. This is a hard question. I'm surprised that it's a hard question. I realize it is a hard question because of my generally very pragmatic, we're doing the thing, fucking go attitude.
Yeah.
That there rarely is there a thing where if we could just if I can do this thing, this will be great. And now that is done, great. That is a moment. It's always just that was the last step in the process. We're on this step now. Get to fucking work. So I don't know, I'm putting out the Infinite Pizza and Queen Wolf vinyl records probably is one. Putting those out on vinyl last year. It's good. Nice. That's the thing we wanted to do, have a record. So I guess probably that.
7-inch? 12-inch?
12-inch.
12-inch. Still available?
Still available. queenwolf.bandcamp.com.
Nice.
Pizza.bandcamp.com. Yeah, so that was cool, and I'm glad we got that done before the lacquer plant burned down and before the supply chain disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
Now people are getting quoted 18 months out to get stuff pressed.
You're one of the rare bands that has vinyl on hand to actually...
And we just barely... I mean, we approved our test pressings the week that lacquer factory burned down. Whew. So we just barely got in.
That is extremely lucky.
Yeah, extraordinary. So yeah, there we go. That would be finally getting a 12-inch out. Probably is the one.
I'm jealous. I mean, I don't have a 12-inch out, so maybe in the future. When it comes to creating music and art, are there subjects that you won't touch because of genre, taboo, controversy, timeliness, politics, anything like that? Where do you draw the line when it comes to making your music and art?
Huh. I feel like inherent in that question, there's this idea that like I have that the person has an opinion on something that they recognize maybe should not be shared,
Yeah.
but they have that opinion. And I'm such a pain in the ass that I don't know if I have any opinions I'm scared to share.
So you don't really have the hard line out there.
I don't want it to sound like there's some sort of I'll fucking say anything, bro. Like that's not the case at all.
Right.
Like there's definitely stuff where I'm like, oh, I probably don't need to have an opinion on that
Right.
at all. No one needs to hear what I think about that. And it's not like it's a taboo. Like I'm scared. It's just I don't think my opinion is worthwhile for anybody.
Oh, so you think of it that way, where it's not so much like I would never make a political song. I just don't want people to know. You know,
No, I'll make political songs, but this like to, I don't know, pick a weird example, right? Like imagine I looking like this decide I'm going to write a song about black liberation and like what the black community needs.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like why? What? Hey, white guy, why are you talking about this at all?
Yeah.
Like at all? Like what? And also, what insight do you think you have to bring or offer? But like, so that's the sort of where like just as a person, it's not like I have a secret opinion where I'm like, well, but I probably shouldn't share it. Like my opinion is I should shut the fuck up and like listen in that case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's more like that. Like if I got something to say about it, I'll probably say it. I'm bad at masking my opinion, but I don't know if there's anything where I'm like, well, I can't go in that area. It's more like, oh, that's not an area I belong, so I don't desire to go in that area.
Yeah, that's completely understandable.
And maybe that's a distinction without a difference.
Maybe. Staying in your lane's pretty admirable, and saying your mind is. I mean, being from the punk community, I would imagine that you wouldn't really give a shit when it comes to speaking your mind, especially through songs and stuff like that. However, some people, they like to be a little bit more marketable. They don't want to.
That's clearly I've never been good at marketable. That's never been a concern.
Yeah.
With making, like, I still make it and try to sell it to people, obviously.
Absolutely.
But like, man, the whether it's marketable or not sure seems like someone else's problem somehow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, certainly that's not I'm not worried about it. But I will say that whereas Infinite Pizza is much more direct in our politics, like you know exactly where we stand on stuff just from scanning the song titles.
Right.
Queen Wolf is definitely more lyrically obtuse, and that is intentional because I like that. It's not like I'm scared to say a thing. Like I feel like I'm saying it pretty clearly, but I'm saying it with like David Lynch language. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Like that's. But I like lyrics. Like I like songs like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the best songs don't have lyrics that make sense.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's kind of true. Yeah, I feel like I'm answering and not answering this question. So I guess it depends on which band. You know?
That's fair. What's your relationship with the term success when it comes to music? Do you feel that things are successful, that you're successful, that there are successes that happen in music? Or do you just avoid the term?
I wish now I could remember where I saw it. At some point this year, I saw a quote from someone where it was someone talking about a conversation, some famous person talking about an older, more famous person that they were speaking to. Which is why I wish I could remember whose anecdote this was. It's not mine. Make that clear to the internet here.
Right.
And I know it. But this person was saying like, I don't know if I'm successful. I don't know how we define success. Are these the heights I'm going to reach? Whatever. And the older, more famous musician person was like, You're still doing it, right? You're playing.
Mhm.
You get stuff. You survived. You managed to keep. Then you are a success. That's what success is. Success is I can keep doing it. All right, then I guess I succeeded. I'm still doing it. If that's the metric we're going by, then I guess I succeeded.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
That's good.
There are plenty of other ways to measure it, but I don't fucking care. Like whether it was the money, it's a money contest. Go sell real estate if it's a money contest. Like listen, I didn't get into punk rock to make money. That wasn't the point.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how to, and I don't care to. It's not what I'm here doing, and that's fine. Some people are good for them, but like there are different ways to measure it.
Yeah. So, do you believe that songs have monetary value? Is being a musician a viable job anymore?
For me, no. I don't know, but was it ever? I don't know, and I don't. It feels difficult to form a useful opinion on it because there's so much of the music that I love and that is important to me, that I care about, that I think is super culturally like significant, that like matters, that like hasn't sold that many copies. A lot of people don't know about it. They don't care. Like
Yeah.
the Ramones don't have a platinum record. Apparently, did you know that?
Wow.
The
Really?
Ramones don't have a platinum record. The Ramones
Yeah.
don't have a platinum record.
That's...
Like they might now, but it was only recently that something went platinum. If it's true, because I know at some point, like not too many years ago, someone said that, and I was like, bullshit. Let me look that. Oh my god.
Huh.
And that's the Ramones.
We get constant airplay.
So like, can you make money being a musician? Maybe, but it doesn't. It's not like 30 years ago where you could just be a band that tours and like a mid-ish level band and like pay your rent doing that. I don't know if you can do that anymore. Everyone's got to have a side hustle and do other shit, and like, I don't know.
So what does Mike Walls do in order to make ends meet as a musician? How do you finance the love?
I have a computer. I have what Max Collins from Eve 6 calls a fake email job.
Nice.
Dealing with computers where like there's a computer database full of like dentist phone numbers, right? And this is a simplification of an example.
Yeah.
So, like there's a database of dentist phone numbers, and I have to go in and make sure the phone numbers are correct. So like I spend all day going through a spreadsheet and this system going like, yeah, that one's missing. Got to fix that. Let me look up this guy's number and get it in there. It's stuff like that. Just absolute like brainless work that also requires constant attention to detail. So it's like the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
then you siphon the money into your
I go
projects.
from sitting in front of a computer agonizing over minute details to then going over to a different computer to agonize over whether the compressor threshold is right, or like I don't know, the drums like are they spanky enough? so I don't, it's a parallel move.
Right. So it's safe to say that most musical operations operate in the red, and that's probably the case for your bands as well. It's more of a hobby.
Yeah, although we're generally pretty close to breaking even, if not breaking even. We don't lose too much money, which is great. I mean, it's also we've been doing it long enough that we figured out like, all right, we'll only make these many T-shirts. You only need to press up this many of a thing. That sort of. Like we know kind of how to work the margins better. I mean, it's still losing money most of the time.
Right.
But like, most of the records we've put out, they end up paying for themselves. We don't make enough money from gigs to pay for the practice space entirely or anything, but like that's fine. I also then record people, and that goes toward buying gear and helping to pay for the space sometimes and stuff. So like, it's not as red as it could be. It's like a pleasant pink.
Well, I mean, you got to get it done. So
yeah, like we're gonna do it anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if it completely lost fucking, we'd still be doing it.
Yeah.
But it's nice that it doesn't make us homeless. That's a bonus. That's nice.
Yeah. So what has been the most difficult part about making music or being a musician?
Learning to play music? And that's not even facetious. Like it's so, it's like it's fractal. There's so many levels and degrees of competency and technique to things.
Mhm.
That just every time, I'm sure you've experienced it, every time you kind of get a little better and level up some, feel like, oh, I've got a grasp on that now. Then you realize, like, oh, it goes deeper and worse. There's
Yeah.
more to learn. Fuck. Like, it's on the one hand, it's wonderful. It's a pursuit that never ends. And on the other hand, you'll never actually be that, if you're certain personalities, and I'm one of them, like, you'll never be, like, real good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
never going to happen. Because you just keep learning how good really is.
You open the one door, step through, and you see two more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I totally relate to that because like you said, every level up just brings a new horizon to what music is as a language that you're experiencing
Yeah.
with other people in real time.
Yep.
And there are rules, but they're Western rules made by old guys in powdered wigs, and they're not necessarily always correct for just especially like punk music and stuff like that.
And even those rules are entirely bendable and fungible, and you can
Yeah.
they're bumper guidelines at a duck pin lane, and like you can hop them pretty easily. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Playing with Christy and Annie and Queen Wolf, who are way better musicians than I'll ever be. Like and that's not a humble thing. I'm not being nice about it. Like that's just true. It's certainly made me get better, and it's great playing with them because they are effortlessly better than I am all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice, but it's still that thing of like, I got to be good for however good I'm gonna be,
Yeah.
but constantly recognizing like, not that I need to. This is not like I need to be the best guitar player in the room. That's not what I am saying here. But however good I'm like, oh, I really got that part right. Like Christy can be half asleep and smoke me any day of the week. It's fine. So it keeps things in perspective. But it's awesome because as a person who appreciates riffs and like I like people who are sick at it, I don't need to be the guy. Like my ego's not that way. I'm really excited to be able to play rhythm guitar behind the person who's that good, to be that close to watch him be that good.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. So, speaking of rhythm guitar, but not limited to rhythm guitar.
I certainly am.
What's your favorite piece of equipment that you've ever owned?
Goodness gracious. I mean, I guess I have to. Sometimes you end up giving the answer that is true right now and not necessarily the answer. Like there's the two ways to answer things. So I'll answer right now. What I think is the best thing I've ever owned is my amp that I have. I have that solid state orange, the CR120. I have the combo version.
Okay.
Christy has the head and the cab, but I've got the combo version, and it's all it's like based on a rocker verb or something, but all with op amps, which I don't want to get. I don't know enough, and also I don't want to get super dorky about it.
Right.
But op amps clip in a way that I really like 70s big muffs.
Okay.
Where they used op amps. So this thing to me sounds like if an amp was a big muff in a box, but with decent EQ.
Nice.
Which I love. Like I love that gnarly, like the Greg Ginn Black Flag sound, like Queens of the Stone Age thing, like that just too much fuzz, like square wave idiot fuzz.
Yeah,
like, where you have to fight to control it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So this does that great. I love this amp right now.
That is surprising. Solid state amps have come a long way in the past 10 years, it seems like.
Oh yeah, this is the best sounding solid state amp ever, I think. I love it to death. But also, like I love that gnarly square waved big muff thing. I just want it to be slightly more dynamic. And this does that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I might check that out.
It's
I got to go to a trip to the local guitar store that has a name that I'm not going to mention, and might turn that one on when I'm there.
The thing is that I realized, especially once I started playing this amp, what clicked for me is that I don't actually like tubes. They sound great. They're great for other people. I don't like playing through a tube amp. All the things that people like about a tube amp, like it's got like the spongy response and they're like super full range. I don't want none of that.
You just want it to
the solid
be the
state amp
same.
is like tight and focused. It's got like a tight low end for the chuggy chuggies.
Mm-hmm.
Like it kind of just sits in guitar land frequency wise.
Yep.
You know, like a fucking laser. It's super aggressive. I love that. love it to death. Sounds the same all the time. Yeah, like
Nice.
I'm not a tubes guy. I appreciate them. I like them for other people. I've got a little Silvertone from 1959. It was my grandpa's. Has the original amps in it, or the original tubes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, it sounds incredible. It's the secret overdub weapon. Every time it's like, well, we need to do another rhythm track or a lead track, or I don't know what sound I want. It's like, this is gonna be it. This is gonna do it.
Okay.
Like that amp's great, but like I don't want to play live with it. It's not good for me. Every
Yeah,
time I
yeah.
play me through it, I'm like, I should probably just put on a big muff because like I need it. I have to fight with it some,
Right.
you know. And the tubes are too forgiving in a way. They work with you too much. I feel like that says something about my personality as a person. And I think probably tone choices do for all guitar players. But now everyone's learned something about me.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it to the people who decide to comment on whether or not they agree with your assessment about the tube amps. I'm sure a lot of
A lot
guitar
of them don't.
nerds
No.
will have a fit about that
And
comment.
look, and that's fine. They're allowed to love it. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just all the stuff people hate about solid state amps. Turns out that's exactly what I'm after.
You know,
That's the thing I want.
I've heard some good ones, and it's weird how people would dog on them even 10 years ago or more when even the crappy small ones, the little practice amps, would somehow sound good in weird
Yeah,
situations.
especially recording. Like some of those things have a lot of charm, and you can do a lot with them.
Hmm.
But this CR120 is the first solid state amp I ever played live, not knowing it was solid state, and just assumed it was a tube amp.
Oh,
Like I never, I the only reason I found out it was solid state, we played it backline on tour playing in Manhattan. I was like, fuck, that amp sounded great. I should look that up when I get home because I'm sure I can't afford it. It's only, oh my god, okay, I'm gonna get one.
nice.
Because you think it's an orange, it's gonna be $3,000 or something.
Yeah. The orange stuff was very intimidating when they started coming out with it on the regular and not being such like a boutique product. How much gear, in your opinion, is too much? Where do you draw the line, and do you get gear acquisition syndrome?
Oh, I definitely get gear acquisition syndrome. But it's in my defense, it's usually focused around, oh, I have figured out an application for that fucking thing, so now I need it. Like I bought 4 pressure zone microphones. You know those boundary microphones. If you've ever seen those, you know what those things are. Like they use them for plays and stuff, where they sit on the floor. Like they use them in conference rooms. Sometimes, you know, there's those
okay.
ones. They have to be against a flat boundary to pick up sound.
Okay,
Very
yeah.
directional.
Yeah.
I saw some people do some things with them for drums. I was like, oh, okay. Well, now that I know what to do with it, I need to get several of them. So I bought 4.
yeah.
But it was, you know, pandemic times. Some school system in Texas was cleaning out all of their school PA systems and replacing stuff. So they were selling these $300 microphones for $25 each. 20 if you buy 3 or more.
What?
Right?
Wow.
So yes, I do have gear acquisition syndrome, but I'm never like, I need a $3,000 Manly compressor. It's always like, I found this thing on eBay that's literally full of dog shit, but if I rinse it out for only $20, I can get that snare sound. You know what I mean? Like I'm one of those fucking creeps.
Does it ever take up too much space? Is space ever a concern? Are you like,
yeah, we've got a bunch of like amps that, you know, oh, we're gonna fix those. No, we're not.
I say
We've
as
got-
we are surrounded by a wall of cabinets behind
Yeah,
me.
we've got stuff we've got to get rid of. But mostly, like it's not like I'm not one of those dudes who's like, I've got, you know, 4 different microphone choices for overheads, depending on what kind of flavor you want. And we can do it. Like I've got 2, and I can get whatever we need out of those 2 different pairs. And honestly, I usually use the one because I know where to put it to get it to do the thing. So like I don't need that many microphones.
Yeah.
So like I've got enough stuff to do whatever nonsense we know we can do. But the
Right.
problem is we keep learning to do more nonsense, so we get more stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's not too bad, but it kind of ebbs and flows, right? You hit a critical mass of stuff, and then we go, we should probably throw some of this broken shit out and replace it this, and like we never use this thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have clearly needing to clear out some of this shit because
You'll have to come over to our space sometime, and you will feel way better about your room.
Oh, okay.
We have it's not going anywhere, by the way. We're going to keep it. We have a mixing board that I got from Nathan Sterner at WYPR
Okay.
that used to be in what used to be their main studio. So like that became the B room, and that's where they did the jazz after hours, like at night and stuff, and on the weekends. So if
Ooh.
you ever listen to late night jazz on public radio in Baltimore,
Yeah.
you have heard this board.
Okay.
Then they weren't using it anymore. The power supply, they couldn't find the cable. They weren't in that studio. They were going to remodel it. So Nathan Sterner messaged me one day and said, "Hey man, do you want this mixing board? I don't know if it works. I will take it, Nathan Sterner. I don't care if it works. I will take it."
Yeah.
So we have this enormous broadcast board that does not work. I have my speakers behind it, the monitors behind it, the converters are over here. It looks like it's part of the setup. It absolutely is not. It's Vibe furniture,
Nice.
and it's great. And I tell everyone when they come in, listen, it doesn't do nothing. It don't even plug in. You can't turn it on.
Right.
It does not work. And yet, everyone agrees, like, I feel better having it here. Right? Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
enhances the party vibe. And I swear to God, sometimes when the mixes are sounding good and, like, everyone's into it, I will lean forward and do, like, push up faders that are connected to nothing just because it feels fun to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And it works. It's great. Feels great.
So just for a mental image, this is like one of the big ones that has like a million like ribbon cables on the inside that
Yeah.
are slotted up to different, each
Yep,
slider is
it's got
a module.
It's got a bunch of VU meters. It's got a VU bridge across the top. A bunch of buttons and pan pots, like two different sets. It's like
What a find.
It's a broadcast mixing board, like a metal chassis.
I guess if you're lucky enough, a lot of studios are probably going to go through a remodeling within the next 10 years, and they'll probably be getting rid of a lot of these things
I
that are
mean,
just...
so many of those things. Like, so the reason we got this one is they lost the cable that connects the power supply to the board.
Yeah.
And that cable was made by one specific company that doesn't exist anymore. No one knows how to make the cable. How do I know no one knows how? I'm not being hyperbolic. I tracked down the companies that bought out the stock, and the company of that, like these guys bought Audiotronics, and then they sold it to these guys and these guys. It is a company in Pennsylvania, some electronics company. They own all the remaining parts. They own the schematics. They own this stuff. And by they, I mean there is one guy that works for this company. His name is Joe. Hi, Joe. Who works in the back of this warehouse, who knows how to fix these things. So I talked to Joe on the phone, and he was like, I could try to build you one of those cables, but like it's going to be kind of expensive because they're weird, and you might get it powered on, and we find out we got to replace a bunch of the things because these would break down and blah, blah, blah. It was some weird board where the guy had figured out how to make mic preamps using somehow reverse wired door buzzers.
Oh, boy.
And people say this thing sounded like an API console, which is wild.
Huh.
I'll never know because we can't power it up.
Yeah.
Can't be done. And it would be so expensive to pull the preamps out and rack them up
Yeah.
to like use them for recording. And the value I would get out of that versus the value of having this big stupid board where I can go, the big stupid board wins.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Sure. So like that's certainly a gear acquisition syndrome thing.
Certainly with the
but
space, too.
But it was free. So
Yeah.
you see, this is how I'm getting away with it and justifying it to myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have a bunch of dumb bullshit, but most of it was cheap or free.
That's great. That's absolutely great. So outside of music, do you have any hobbies or passion projects that share or fight for time with your music?
No, I don't do shit. That's the thing. I only like the one thing.
Your music through and through.
This is part of the problem with me. Like, so I went to a wedding. I went to our good friend's wedding last night and got sat at a table with some very nice but regular people,
Right.
kind of. And like, I don't know how to talk to them. I don't know what to say because I'm not. Like, there's other stuff that I'm interested in. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I read comic books because I'm a fucking dork. I'm real into black and white horror comic books right now. Again, like stuff from the 70s and newer stuff.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing I subscribe to. Like, I'm not out there every month buying like the new Spawn.
Yeah, you're not
Or
fighting
whatever.
for the signing of the issue number 1
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Although I did go to Baltimore Comic-Con and get a Green Lantern sketch from my favorite Green Lantern artist from when I was like 8.
Awesome.
Because that was available. I'm very excited about it. So like, I'll do that, but like, that's not fighting for band time. Like I like to. I'm a reader. I particularly I used to love conspiracy stuff before
Before
the
this.
world. Before,
Yeah.
And I say this with no irony. Before all you fucking squares out there ruined it. Right?
Yeah,
Before like
yeah.
regular people got a hold of like they're putting baby parts in the vaccine. No, they're
Yeah, yeah.
not, you dipshit. Like, people who just heard of like the Priory of Zion. So first
Yeah,
of
yeah.
all, it's not a real thing. And also, do you realize how you don't know how racist it is? You fucking poser.
Yeah.
Conspiracy. I used to like Bill Cooper. I don't know if you know that crazy person. I'm naming this like you should know these people. He's a crazy guy from like the 80s, right? And I'll sit at home. I used to sit at home just listening to his old radio shows. Not because I
Okay.
believe any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like Coast to Coast AM. If you
Yeah.
listen to that show, right? That kind of stuff. Completely ruined for me now. But
Yeah.
that was my hobby, right? Or like reading occult books. Like I'm not out there doing Resh every morning or anything, but like I've read a bunch of Crowley
Yeah.
because it's found really interesting to me. Really interested in that stuff.
Right.
But like, yeah, I'm not like, well, sorry guys, I can't make it to prep. I haven't gotten my guitar fixed because I had to make a robe out of a lion skin and buy golden rings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's not fighting for
I'm
time.
curing vellum right now. Gotta say that.
Right. Like I'm just out there. I'm either in my dumb band or I'm recording someone else's dumb band, and I'm legitimately not that interested in anything else. It'd be great if I was, right? Interested in like, I don't know, making money at my job or anything normal people do. Like, what do you
Right.
do for fun? It's like, oh, I record Fuck the Police songs. Like exclusively.
Hell yeah.
Like only. Like, oh, what does it sound like? Unlistenable. Like I'm sorry, it's not a judgment, regular person. You would not like it.
Yeah.
Like bands where the guitars are like 10 decibels over 0 and it's all treble, like stuff where I've high passed it to like 7K
Right.
and up, because that's the guitar sound. It's like, okay, push it into digital red. Good. Right? Like unlistenable, evil stuff. Love it. That's what I'm doing for fun. I've got no time for anything else.
So the listening part takes up a lot of time, right? So probably more time than the playing part.
Yeah, I guess
Or-
that's certainly true. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that would be that's my hobby away from playing music, is sitting at home getting ready to listen to and record and play more music.
But you're making notes mentally or otherwise as to what's going to change.
Definitely
Yeah.
paper notes too, mentally and paper notes.
Oh,
like
right
I
on.
will for sure, if it's for some situations, like you gotta sit there and like chart it out, make like notes of this song needs of this needs of this, like stuff I've done for the Baltimore Rock Opera Society. There's so many pieces going on and stuff's coming in at different times, and this guy's got to re-record this. Like you kind of got to have it charted out. But like if it's a hardcore band, it's coming like to do a record, and we're gonna do the music one day, and we'll come in and do the vocals the next day, because your singer can't make it because he had to work on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that you don't really need charts for, because once you have the good takes, great. Next.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit about your most recent project, what's going on, and where people can find you on the internet?
Oh, what have I done recently? I did a record with Subtastics that just came out. That's great. We didn't do it recently, I guess, but you know, pandemic-wise,
Right.
that's the last album I did for someone outside, and that just came out because everything's slow. So I guess that's the most recent. The Subtastics full length came out. I've done a bunch of stuff with Chris LaMartina for his movies. He just had a movie called What Happens Next Will Scare You come out on DVD. It premiered at the Salem Horror Fest this year, which is cool. So I did some mixing. I mixed that movie. Me and Annie did some music for it with Chris, which is cool. There's a Queen Wolf song on the soundtrack. So I spent a lot of pandemic working on that.
Awesome.
And there's a new Queen Wolf song that just came out. So we did that. So that's great. Finding me on the internet. There is an audioesoterica.com. I don't remember what's on it right now because I don't use it that often.
I think it was a little outdated when I looked.
Oh, I'm sure it's wildly outdated. I have a blogger blog that's outdated. There's an Audio Esoterica Facebook, and it is outdated because I'm just, like I said, I'm bad at making money. I'm not necessarily trying to do this professionally. It would probably make sense for me to promote myself better. It's not what we're doing here. Like, we're making punk rock records. So, like, if you can find me, great. Let's make a record. And if you can't, I don't know, the internet better. I'm out. I'm findable. It's not a secret.
Yeah, there you go.
There's queenwolf.com. That makes more sense. That's updated.
Wow. You guys have a website.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. We did fix audioesoterica.com, and now it leads to queenwolf.com and the Infinite Pizza Bandcamp. So there,
Nice.
just go to audioesoterica.com, I guess, for some of your audio needs.
Excellent. Yeah, and Mike's based out of Baltimore here, and recording with him is on the east side of Baltimore.
if you are a scumbag punk rock band and you have if you have a fuck the police song, or anything that might upset someone's Republican uncle, get in touch. I want to make your record. I'm looking right in the cameras as I say this. Like that's my primary interest in life, is making those records.
Hell yeah.
So like, find me. I am affordable to you. I'm affordable to most people. Like, I'm affordable. I'm not expensive, but like, to you specifically, with your fuck the man, burn down the police songs, I'm super affordable for you. Find me. I promise you.
Hell yeah. If you're digging amps out of trash cans and wiring them back together,
Mhm.
if you're like the rest of us and you're operating on a shoestring budget, I'm pretty sure Mike will help you out.
Yeah, like I want to. So please find me.
So, this has been great.
Yeah, this is fun, man. Thanks for inviting me over.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming and talking to me about all sorts of bullshit today.
My
And,
pleasure.
If you'd like to support this podcast, please leave a review or update or whatever, wherever you see this, wherever you grab it. It'll
Wherever
help us
pods are
out for the
cast.
future. And thank you very much for listening as well.
Thanks, everybody.
See you later.